Can you online coach or personal train someone brand new to fitness? All right, so I randomly kind of thought of this idea because I have a relatively new client. We've been working together for almost a month here, and I thought this would be kind of a fun segment to see. And this was even kind of a challenge to me because I generally work with people that have some sort of experience, but I do want to start opening up my coaching to people brand new. That me personally, I don't want to talk about this too long, but I feel like I do a very good job at helping people that are generally brand new to fitness or just haven't found their thing. They haven't found their fitness. They haven't found consistency in fitness for whatever reason. I do a good job just because I've been doing this for 14 years of kind of figuring out both the psychology and physiology of all this stuff to make sure we can find a program that's sustainable, lifelong, so you don't have to keep searching and doing this yo-yo thing when it comes to fitness, health, nutrition, et cetera, et cetera. So let's kind of break this down. Again, I thought this would be kind of fun because it is a challenge. So first off, I want to go over her kind of initial assessment. So for any of you that are new to any of this online fitness coaching, online personal training thing, is generally, and I don't want to speak for every single coach out there, but generally it starts with some sort of assessment, and all we're doing here is trying to get like a day 0, day 1 current snapshot, there we go, of where our client is currently at. And there's a couple different qualities that we are kind of searching for, looking for when it comes to, again, this snapshot. So general ones, again, not to speak for everyone, is first off, some sort of kind of mobility or orthopedic demands on the body. So what gives you any type of pain or discomfort? What positions can we get into, can't get into, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of be number one because, do no harm is always kind of number one for us here. So we want to know that, and we want to know and have an understanding of a starting point of choosing exercises and et cetera, that are not going to harm or hurt our clients at all. So that's one. Number two is generally some sort of, strength assessment as well too, because we want to be able to gauge progress. So it's, how much can you squat? Whether that is how many reps or whatever, everyone is a little bit different. I'm generally not going to do a max out barbell back squat with someone brand new to fitness. So it is tricky trying to figure out where it's like, I don't want to choose too many because I don't want them to have to do 9,000 different things because they might see that and be like, dude, I don't want to do this. So it is hard, but that's what we're trying to get a current audit and snapshot of where they're at. Again, mobility, orthopedic, strength-wise, and then I do some kind of conditioning test as well too. So let's break down. I want to break down the squat today, and I might do different kind of segments of this little thing that I'm doing here, especially if any of you out there like, man, I'm having a hard time coaching this, that, or whatever, or just interested in it, let's do it. So today we're going to go over the squat. So I'm going to show you her squat evaluation and then our first couple weeks of working in a squat and how we've progressed it and changed up form and stuff like that. Because I think in our short, I think it's 3 or 4 weeks, her technique has gotten a lot better and it wasn't the best. So I'll kind of break down how I do that with this individual client here. So here is the body weight squat test, which actually looks pretty dang good, which is kind of funny. You'll see when we start loading it, it then changes a little bit here. All right, so body weight squat overall, pretty damn good. And again, this individual client is not the trickiest when it comes to pain, discomfort, and things like that. Squat wise, again, day 1, no pain or discomfort. You can see that right here. It looks pretty dang good. And generally what I'm looking at is a few different things. One, obviously, is just going to be range of motion. And this one's hard because that could be a strength deficit or it could just be they don't know. So that's also a hard one. Sometimes these assessments, you have to say, hey, can you go a little bit lower and talk to the individuals? And sometimes it's like, oh, shoot, I thought you're just supposed to go to 90. So just keep that in mind for any of you guys if you're doing any evaluation. Some people just don't know the proper kind of form and technique as well too. So that's why I generally say as low as you can comfortably without any pain or discomfort, and we'll do a few of those. But yeah, overall, everything looks good. Range of motion looks good. The other thing that I'm looking for me personally, I do feel, although I think this is somewhat objective at this point, when we're squatting, we do want a little bit higher of a torso position, and we do want some forward knee translation or for those knees to shift forward, ideally while keeping some good foot placement and pressure on the feet here. It's getting better, but for a long time, everyone was just hips back when they're squatting. And I think that created more issues than it solved. And in my opinion, that's a hip hinge, okay? That's why we have these two different classifications of these patterns here. We have a hip hinge, which again is more, I think of horizontally, the hips traveling forward and back. And then the squat, which I think is more of a, vertical positioning here, where we do want to see those knees traveling forward. And not to go on a full rant, this caused more issues because it made people avoid forward knees translation, which means they did not have a lot of tolerance and capacity to that positioning, which then when life or whatever threw them in that, knee pain. And this is why some people are like, it's bad for your knees. No, you weren't ready for it, and then you got in that position and got hurt, then you blamed that position. No, it wasn't the position. It was because you squatted knees back, knees back, knees back, and then you got on a hack squat where you couldn't do that because there's a constraint. You went knees forward and you hurt your knee, and then you said, knees forward is bad, hack squats are bad. No, you just weren't ready for it, dummy, but that's okay. All right, so that was day one. Everything looked good. So it's like, okay, cool. So when our first workout came, we did a goblet squat. So I figured, all right, everything's going to be all good here. Let's check out the goblet squats. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, so let's see, not the best camera angle. This is another thing you're going to have to get used to with online coaching. It's not always going to be the best. So that's why it's like, try to make this as simple as possible. And then when it comes to recording, because one, it's fucking awkward and it's hard to set up, blah, 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 blah. I do it in the beginning of a training block. If there's new exercises, then I'm like, you don't have to send me anything unless you want to, okay? Because who wants to record every single set, Like that's, and luckily for her, she's at an apartment gym, so there's not many people, but it's awkward. I get it, All right, so check it out now. So overall, not bad. She did lose a good amount of range of motion. So that was the biggest thing that I don't want to say concerned about, but I wanted to work on from week 1 to the next week. All right. Seems like she is doing a more of a hips back pattern now as well too. So because of those two reasons, I said, you know what? Let's add a little bit of a heel raise there. Okay. Because I'm more about constraints over cues. And what that means is instead of cueing till you and they are blue in the face or whatever, which I used to do. I used to overly cue because I just get excited, whatever. All right, knees forward, this back, this, blah, 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 blah. If you can set up some sort of like MacGyver jerry rig where the outcome you want just happens naturally, I think, pretty much no, that is a better route to take than cueing 9,000 things and people getting confusing and overstimulated, blah, 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 blah. So generally, we add a heel raise that helps with dorsiflexion, and what most people don't talk about because they don't understand, it helps with managing your center of mass as well too, okay? So it helps with the natural organic thing that normally, not always the case, people will do, is instead of going hips back because of that, again, heel raise, they will go a little bit more knees forward and they'll stay a little bit more upright. So that's what I said. Let's go. All I want you to do is keep the same weights, reps, everything. Let's add a little bit of a heel raise, add a plate, add a small dumbbell there, and let's go a little bit lower. And from there, that's it. I don't want to overly cue and confuse people. Let's see how it goes. So this was the following week, and we actually we have 2 weeks of this because she didn't get my next cue. You'll see in a second here. So, all right, got the heel raise here. Let's check it on out. All right, so squatting. All right, looks pretty good. Now, please keep in mind, for anyone that's like, oh, it's so bad. We audit how she's feeling after every session. So I do have a post-workout feedback thing of talking about pain, discomfort, blah, 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 blah. No pain, no discomfort, all right? It's deep as hell. It is deep as hell. But, again, this is why we audit these things. If she's like, yeah, I noticed that there's pain, this or that, then maybe we would modify range of motion, not go quite as low. But because it wasn't bad, I'm cool with it, So, looks good range of motion-wise. Biggest thing I'm seeing, especially on these ladder reps, she's just starting to lose a little control, all right? She's dive bombing down a little bit too fast for me. She's using a lot of stretch reflex there as well, too. And you'll see the next week. So what I did cue her, but she missed it. She was about going on vacation, so there's no harsh whatever here. It happens. They're not always going to see all the different cues and whatnot. But I did say, let's add a tempo to it. Range of motion, good. Lock in the range of motion, let's add a tempo. 3 down, 1 up, okay? So I'll just show you really quick. But again, this week she did miss that. And I have it here, 3 seconds going down. And I did send her a video because I send Loom videos. But that's okay. Shame on you! So, this is a repeat, but actually less control here. You'll see. So, boom, let's go. Even less control, okay? So again, positioning and everything is actually not that bad, but in the beginning, especially when we're not used to these movements and we might not have, tolerance and capacity to the knees, adding in a faster eccentric and a even more like violent stretch reflex bounce could be problematic from an orthopedic standpoint. So again, positioning, not too bad, but we lost control and it's a little bit too fast, all right? But again, overall, not too bad. Back looks pretty good, knees look pretty good and stuff like that. So then I was like, hey, you missed my tempo, dude. So let's check out, and this was from 2 days ago. So let's see where we're at here. And if you're paying attention to any of the schedules, she had a week vacation, so we missed a week here. But this is the latest goblet squat. Let's check it on out. All right, so hopefully you can see from there. Here we go. Look at that. Looks pretty damn good to me, okay? So, and please keep in mind, this was like our 3rd or 4th week of workouts. We're doing this all remotely, all right? But I do, to kind of, give me a little bit of flowers and kudos, this is where I feel like I strive, One, with my coaching app, I give Loom video breakdown. So I will break down, especially in the beginning of a training block or someone new, I will go through. And I film just like I'm doing right now. And I break down exactly hey, this is what's going on. Let's try to do this. Let's try to do this. Let's try to do that. So I do these form breakdowns of, post workouts or whatever. And then with each new training, workout that I send, I also include a video in there as well too, kind of breaking down the session. So I'll break down the session after the fact, and then I'll break down the session before the fact, every new one. All right. So that was confusing. I said that really weird, but I think you somewhat get it. All right. So let's get back to it. So yeah, so all I did here, everything looks good. Let's just add a little bit of a tempo. 3 seconds going down, get a little bit of a pause, establishing more control, okay? And then also not relying so much on that stretch shortening cycle at the bottom too. So we get a little bit more muscular fatigue over just using kind of tendons and stuff like that. But again, overall super duper happy with how this squat progression is going. We might do a little bit more cueing, and I might even have her go a little bit less range of motion, because what you'll see with some individuals is they'll have these weird gaps or strength deficits somewhere in the range of motion. And again, I don't think that is like, all right, 911, you need to fix it, but it's just something I'm aware of as a coach. So as you see in the eccentric, there is a point where it's control, lost control at the end. So although she does have a close to 3 second tempo, what people will do to kind of like trick you, camouflage, and this is, I think, a subconscious thing. They'll be like 3, 2, 1, so that last bit is like not control. All right. So it's like you technically got 3 second eccentric, but it's like, yeah, but you didn't really do this right. So there's a lot of different things and strategies that you can do. Again, you can manipulate the range of motion. So I say, all right, 10% less, I want you to stop there. I can say, slow it down at the very end. So again, let's accumulate those 3 seconds from 90 degrees down. We can do 1.5 reps where you have to physically control and stop halfway, then go back. So many different. Every coach has a different kind of strategy, but that's what I'm thinking for this next week. Of maybe we'll manipulate that, or maybe say, you know what, at this point in time, we're good enough. There's no pain or discomfort. So now let's just work on either adding load or adding repetitions and stuff like that, some sort of progressive overload and whatnot. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. We're 14 minutes in. I thought this would be kind of a cool segment, me showing my, how my style of coaching, how we coach new movements to brand new clients, et cetera, et cetera. So let me know what you think down below. Do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, et cetera, et cetera. And if you want to see anything else, like, hey, how do you coach this? Or if you're interested in coaching yourself, I do put everything down in the description below. If you have any questions, I have my email there. Hit me up. I love this stuff. I'm very passionate about fitness. I've been obsessed with this for like 18 years. So please reach out if you need anything, and have a great rest of your day.